So were you more of like a beer drinker or a whiskey kind of thing? Did you drink for the feeling to numb yourself? Or did you just really enjoy?
I just drank. It just was, I didn't really think about it much. It was like breathing to me.
Right, yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go get fucked up and like have a party. It was just, I'm drinking and then I'm going to drink more and then I'm going to drink more. And
what skills in particular like really narrow it down?
A lot of pieces to the puzzle. And all of us have different skill sets and abilities and natural and developed, right? So there you have all these pieces that are moving together, and where you're lacking in one area, you can make up for in another area.
All right, Kev, this is kind of a counterintuitive question. When you were younger, how much of being an alcoholic and how much of your trauma you think made you a good fighter? Or a great fighter, I should say. I know it's a weird question to ask, but you know, kind of like a Joan Jones kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Like a wild man kind of
thing. I would say all of it contributed to me becoming the fighter that I was and giving me the drive and motivation I had to do it. It was also the thing that almost killed me and destroyed me. But when I realized I had a choice to make in which direction I took that energy, that changed everything. And that gave me the fuel to push myself as hard as I did. And looking back, I see how much that contributed to what I was able to do, because I did have that drive. I did have that outlook on every day might be my last day. This is all I get. I'm not going to hold myself back or take it easy or pass up opportunities or.
What's going on, guys? If you're enjoying this podcast, please don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Only if you're getting value out of it on YouTube, and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to leave a rating and follow. And also, I also write a blog newsletter from what I learned from my incredible guests that I have on. So sign up for the email list and get updates on the podcast. Thank you for your love and support. Now back to the show.
Look at things through a immediate lens of a bad situation. Like, this is just part of going through what we're going through, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And everything is either going to bring me closer to where I want to get to or further away. So having that experience from my youth up until when I started gave me a lot of prior knowledge of how to deal with uncomfortable situations.
Was the moment or that switch that led you to there, was your friend when you had that like little light bulb moment where he said, look, man, why don't you just fight?
Yeah.
You know, because look, if alcoholics like, well, I've been sober for 4 years, by the way. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But it's hard to turn on that switch, right?
Yeah.
Like just to get sober like that, it's not easy, especially at a younger age.
Yeah.
So was it that moment that you, with your friend, that you were like, okay, I got to get my shit together? And that's very, very early in life.
Yeah.
Your brain's not even like close to being developed.
Yeah. Well, no, actually. So that happened probably, well, he passed away in 99, and I didn't start till 2003.
Yes.
So 4 years of, there was many light bulb moments, actually. Looking back, that was the first one that really planted the seed of what it inevitably grew to. But there was many times where it was like getting hit in the face. Like, you're going to die. You're going the wrong way. Do you want to keep wasting your life? And after he passed and I made that promise to myself and to him that I would do this, every time something would happen, it was like staring me in the face that I wasn't doing what I promised I would do. And, you know, on one hand, that almost made it worse because I just tried to suppress it and ignore it even more over the years. And then eventually it just got so bad that I was like, I can't look myself in the mirror anymore. Knowing that I promised myself that I would turn my life around, live for my friend who didn't get to live, who passed away at 18. And not only have I am I not turning my life around? It's worse now. And so I realized I'd wasted 4 years after making that promise. It was like the day after he passed, I promised myself, I'm going to turn my life around. I'm going to go after this thing. And I wasn't doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And then it was just like that one day you have that moment where you can't lie to yourself anymore. You know, you do for a really long time and you suppress it and you make a lot of excuses. But I think we all have those moments where you just can't pretend anymore. And you either got to keep just saying, all right, I know I'm being full of shit and I'm going to keep doing it. And you accept it. And that makes it worse as well. But fortunately for me, I went the other direction. And that also gave me that motivation because I knew how much of my life I had wasted, especially since making that promise. I was like, you just pissed away 4 more years. So you have no time to hold yourself back or let anything be an excuse not to keep moving forward.
Yeah, what you were saying about like lying to yourself, I think it's one of the worst things we could do to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because it's a self-sabotaging, you know, you don't trust yourself to do anything if you keep doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I guess you could lie to everyone else. I suggest you don't. But then it's lying to yourself is the worst thing. If you say you're going to go to the gym and you don't do it,
Yeah.
who else is going to trust you
Right.
but yourself? You know? So you said that was the first moment.
Yeah.
I'm a big, you know, I read a lot of books, and then I was reading this book called Power of Moments, and well, they're very powerful. What were those other moments, like the talk with your dad? Like, you know, what other ones were you're like, okay, this is like a light bulb clicks? Because I think people are very fortunate when they find those moments because a lot of people never do.
Yeah.
They just stay stuck the same.
Yeah.
You know that saying where they say, oh, I guess people aren't buried till like they're 90. People are dead at 30, but they don't get buried till like they're 80 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The moment with my friend, obviously making that promise, that was one. Another one was a year later, after he had passed. I had this feeling my whole life that I was going to die early, and clearly living the way I was gave me more feelings about that. Like, I'm not going to live very long. And then I just had this date in my head that it was going to be, I wasn't going to live to see the year 2000. Don't know why, don't know what it was, you know, and even if it wasn't that date, I knew I was probably not going to be here very long. So I was just like, let's just party and fuck off and not care about anything. And then going into, I was going to a New Year's party with a couple of my buddies, and on our way there, we were inches away from getting ran over by a semi truck. He was drag racing with this other guy on the way to the party, and then we were going towards this light. The light turned red, and he wasn't slowing down. My buddy that was driving, and I was in the back seat, not knowing what was going on. I'm like, and we're going, cars are going through, and I'm like, this is it. You know, this is end. And then he like fishtailed in the intersection and took a hard right, and he's like skidding out and driving, and his wheels are spinning. And I look out the back window, and there's this semi truck just barreling down the road at us. And I was like, that's it, you know. But his tires caught, and we just took off. And even in that moment, I didn't think much about it. But again, looking back, that was like,
always 20.
I was like, that's where you were supposed to die, and you didn't die. Now, what are you doing with this extra life that you have now? And that was another thing. Looking in the mirror, I'm like, you shouldn't be here anymore. So not only did you make that promise to your friend, you should have died right there.
Yes.
And then, so now it's like double, right? Now I have all these things saying, you shouldn't be here anymore. You're wasting your life. You're wasting your life. You're wasting your life. And then leading up to the point when I finally turned it around, there was a successive few months where friends were dying and going to jail and getting in wrecks. And it was just like over and over and over again. And every time it was just hit me in the face. This is the road you're on. You shouldn't be here anyway. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So there was many many of these light bulb moments that happened. And looking back, I can see how they all worked together. And each time was a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more.
Yeah, it's stacked up.
Yeah. But it wasn't as if there was just this one moment that said, okay, that's it. Right. There was several.
Quick pause, guys. As you guys know, I have high-level fighters and martial artists on this podcast all the time. From your top-level pros to your everyday practitioners and hobbyists. Whether you train every day or just love the fight culture, this brand, it's the same mindset, just like this podcast. Just Fight Code here is built for real training, for durability, its toughness, and for real hard rounds. Personally, I wear it almost every day, no joke. I like it because of its durability during when you're rolling in jiu-jitsu or whether you're sparring in MMA or Muay Thai. Your favorite UFC fighter is already rocking it. Like former champion Zhang Wei Li, world-class coach John Wood, UFC fighters like Nazim Sadikov, Chepe Mariscal, Jacqueline Cavalcanti, and Vince Morales, just to name a few. These threads move fast, so act now, and at checkout, type in the code SPEAKEASY15 to get a 15% discount. I'll click the links down below, so order yours today. We are Just Fight Co.
Do you think when you say, your friends were going to jail, do you think that's a product of why you grew up like that, why you had bad habits? Or was it further into your childhood about, with the drinking, what led you to that life in the very beginning? Like you just got into drinking and then...
Oh, I mean, I started drinking when I was 12.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously had a lot to do with like my parents splitting up when I was a little kid. And
Yep.
moving constantly, never having any consistency in my life. And it was just like chaos. Like we moved like every couple months we were moving, and it was just never having anything solid in my life, and realizing that everything just can get taken away. And it forced me to, or caused me to have that victim mindset of, this is the way that life is. You're never going to get anything. You're never going to be anything. And I just accepted it. It wasn't even something that I was upset about. It just was a exception, or I would say I accepted the fact that I wasn't going to be anything in life, and I wasn't going to live very long.
Yeah.
So it to me, it was, this is just the way that it is. Not
right.
It wasn't a good or a bad or anything. I never viewed anything external, like, why is my life like this? And, this is terrible. It was just, this is it. So deal with it, accept your life is just this chaotic thing. And that's just the way it's going to be. And I did.
What kind of 40 ounces were you drinking? Was it Mickey's? Was it Oldie?
Oldie, yeah.
That was my drink too, man. Parking lot pimping with the piss bottle.
Yeah.
With that piss bottle.
Oldie.
I know, man.
Dude, I used to collect the caps, and I had these guitar strings in my room, just hundreds of them. Because every night I'd drink, we'd collect them so I could look back and be like, this is how much I had, and I'd add them to the list.
Dang, man.
It was bad, man. I mean, I've been putting down like 3 of those a night, and then that'd be like the start. Then I'd start drinking like hard alcohol after that. Like my 340s were just to get going, which is crazy.
Did you ever... So were you more of like a beer drinker or a whiskey kind of thing? Did you drink for the feeling to numb yourself? Or did you just really enjoy, just drinking with your buddies, having a good time? Were you a party kind of guy?
Yeah. I mean, I just drank. It just was, I didn't really think about it much. It was like breathing to me.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go get fucked up and like have a party. It was just, I'm drinking, and then I'm going to drink more, and then I'm going to drink more. And it was very, very social drinking, but to an extreme level. But it was normal, and everything that came with it was very normal. The chaos of parties and just madness, and being in Vegas too was the worst shit ever.
Oh, you were here at that time.
Yeah,
it was really bad.
Oh yeah, I moved here when I was 14.
That's like the worst place.
It's the worst. It's the worst. Yeah. So it's like I started drinking and doing drugs when I was 12. Then you move to Vegas when you're 14, 15. it's just gasoline on a fire.
Oh my goodness.
It's a terrible, terrible, terrible place to grow up if you're inclined to those kinds of things. So yeah, it was bad. And all my friends and everybody I was with, it was all day, every day. That's all we did.
Yeah.
Drink and party. And yeah, it was chaos.
When you were talking, and this is, a little deep because personally I haven't been through this. And it was very fascinating because I read a lot of like, the body storage of trauma, those kinds of books.
Yeah.
What about when you were looking back at it now, ever since you did the Joe Rogan interview,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel? Do you feel any different, or how are you processing like being molested as a child at 14 with your stepmom?
Yeah. The Rogan thing was huge.
It was like 5 years ago, I believe you did that, right?
Yeah.
And then how is it different now from what you think about, when that happened to you as a kid? Were there any changes? Do you feel about it the same? Do you process it different?
It's definitely, it's certainly different now. And things, it's like you can only look back and realize how much you've grown and developed. And there was all these different stages in life, and we're like, yeah, I'm kind of over it and dealt with it. And but I hadn't really, you hadn't really processed it, just to maybe a surface level. But being able to talk about it and express it, and especially express it on that kind of platform, for me,
that was deep. I mean, I'm glad you did, because I texted you and I was like, this is, I need to have him.
Yeah, it was really difficult. It was really like, it's not hard for me to talk about, but it was hard for me to open the subject up to him. Cause I'm like, first off, prior to that, I was always thinking about, I think it'd be good for me to express this on some kind of level to where I can, like, talking to a small group of people or people that have been abused before. And, I started thinking about being able to share my story and how I could help others with it. And then Joe fucking calls me up. He's like, hey, you want to do the podcast? And then I was like, shit, I didn't mean like that many people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But it's like, be careful what you ask for. Cause I was just searching for somewhere I could start to do that.
Yeah.
But again, in my head, I'm thinking maybe I can go to like a survivors group, like 10 people.
Like an AA kind of thing.
Yeah. And then so when he hit me
Joe
up.
Rogan podcast.
Right. So he hits me up and I'm like, well, shit, damn it. And then at the same time, I'm like, well, I guess I mean, like, I don't have to talk about it, but it was like, you asked for it. How are you going to pass up this opportunity?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to, if you do this show and don't talk about it and look back, you're going to say like, I passed up this opportunity to share and to express this thing that people don't talk about. And it happens so often,
man,
sickening numbers, and nobody ever hears about it or speaks about it, especially when it comes to guys.
Yeah, right.
It's almost like it's this hidden thing that doesn't exist. But when you look at how often it happens, it's terrible. And the reason is because people don't talk about it. So I felt this extreme responsibility that I have to use this opportunity.
And I think even, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but then even if you weren't planning to talk about it, I bet you when you were there, you just had some umph to be like, well, nah, I have to. You know what I mean?
It
was like a little bit of hesitation, but then it's like, nah, fucking let it out, dude.
Yeah, you can, I mean, if you go back and watch you and know this, you can probably pick up on this, but there were several times I tried to start to talk about it, but I didn't know how to open up the subject. I'm just like, hey, this happened to me, right?
Dude, I think that was it. I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh.
Yeah. So there's a few times I'm like I talk about my childhood a little bit, and then I just didn't say it. And then eventually I was like, look, I'm like, I need to talk to you about this.
You also made a disclaimer before that too. You were like, I think we're something about like going deep, and then I was like, oh, okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah, I said I'm gonna throw a hand grenade in this conversation.
Yes, that's right.
Because I felt like I was just gonna ruin this whole thing. Like we had this good back and forth, and we're talking about fighting, but then I was thinking it's starting to slip away from me. Like because we can just talk about bullshit
Like
for
bullshit, yeah.
for 2 hours, and then I'm gonna be at the end of it and be like, oh, by the way, I wanted to talk about
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Maybe have me on again. So, it was very hard for me to open that up. But once we're talking about it, I can talk about it forever, but to tell it to somebody that doesn't know anything about it, it'd be different if I would have took them aside at the beginning and be like, hey, this happened. I want you to bring it up. That would have been a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I had to be the one to just open that up in the middle of just this casual conversation. Be like, oh, here's this terrible, awful fucking thing that happened. Let's talk about this instead. Like, how do you do that?
I mean, I think it was your intuition you were just going with what you felt, right?
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, here we go.
Yeah. And then afterwards, I was like, maybe he won't even put this out. Like, I don't know, and I just started thinking all these things about if it was even like, if he was going to air it and how it would be taken, or maybe they would cut some stuff out. And then 2 days later it aired. And then the amount of people that hit me up telling me they'd been through similar things. It was hard. It was hard.
Yeah.
Awful. But at the same time, I was like, this is why you did this, is to let people know they're not alone and that this does happen. And so many people were like, I've never been able to tell anyone about this. I've been living with like people in their like 60s and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people contacted me, and it was just a daily thing. And it was hard to deal with, but at the same time, it's like, this is what you asked for. And this is the point. The point is to help other people, not to just help yourself. Yeah, of course I want to help myself, but I'd rather help other people and let them know they're not alone. And if somebody would have done that for me when I was coming up, and that's why I was always very vocal about, like, during my fighting career, about all the struggles I had, the doubts I had, the ups and the downs. I wanted to be very vocal about this and transparent, because I realized we put on this facade for people, especially nowadays with social media and everything. It's just this fake thing.
Yeah. It's a highlight reel.
It's a highlight reel, right? It's like watching somebody's highlight reel you're about to fight. I'm like, well, don't do that. Like, that just tells you nothing.
Right.
Zero. Like, when everything's going good, yeah, you look great.
Yeah.
Like,
I love what you guys talked about that too. When everything's going good, it's the failures and all that really determine your character, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
How do you react when things go wrong? When everything goes wrong, that tells you what somebody's made of. Like, everybody wants to do stuff when it's good and it's easy and you're getting all these accolades from it. And yeah, of course. But do you want to do this when it sucks and it's painful and everybody's telling you not to do it and everything in the world is telling you not to do it? Do you still want to do it? Then yeah, you actually do want to do this. It's not just because it's fun and it's easy.
What kept you going? Was it the glory when you were fighting, when you had like momentum? Like, because part of it's like, I'd be lying, right? Like, say if I put myself in that position and then I've already won WBC titles and all that, be like, oh, okay. I mean, it's got to feel really, really good, right?
Well,
when you kind of get all these wins and you're like, all right, cool.
It's, for me, it's nice, but none of those things really meant anything to me. To me, it was always about the journey, where the development, the progress. Like, here's the thing that highlights, yeah, you did really well in this moment on this day.
Yes.
But it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you who I am. Right. You need to look at everything that contributes to a whole career
as a person,
and as a person, which is much more important. So for me, I never even really thought or cared about any of the titles or the wins or anything, because it was always, from the beginning, it was me against myself and trying to get to this point, which was impossible. It was an infinite point of progression. I didn't put a ceiling on anything. I didn't put I just want to be world champion, or I just want to win this amount of fights, or be this person.
So you didn't have like expectations.
Zero.
You didn't really?
None.
Wow.
I
that's what drives a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it can be very empty when you get that thing and you realize you're still the same. You're still you.
You're still you.
You're
yeah,
still you.
exactly.
Wherever you go, there you are.
2 days later, this
It's gone. And that kills people. And especially after they retire. And that's why so many fighters just destroy themselves when they're done. Because who are you now? I was very fortunate for one, starting so late, two, knowing how much of my life I had wasted going into it. And three was every day for me was a gift and I shouldn't be here anyway. And I knew that and I felt that. And I never lost that perspective the entire time I was doing this. Even to this day, for me, is like, I honestly always feel like I'm living in a dream because I don't feel like I should be alive. So
wow.
As bad as things were, I'm so grateful because I know how many people kind of skip through these things and just rush through and they just want to get to this point. And then they get there and then why do I feel the same way? Well, you're still you. This is just the thing that you have now, but you're still you. You can't get away from you. And I fortunately didn't have to do that. And it's a very rare thing. And I think the more people if people could realize that, they would appreciate their lives a lot more and appreciate the good and the bad. That I think that's one of the more difficult things is to appreciate what bad things are, what they can be, what they can do for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously they're bad and you don't want them to happen, but what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Right. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid bad things in life. They're going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for me, it put things in perspective.
I think a lot of people, it's just a lack of self-awareness because it's the person who you become.
Yeah.
And not the actual accolade, right?
Yes.
They have these expectations, which is a good North Star, kind of like leading you to a direction. It's the person that you become. So when you get that goal, just like how you guys were talking about on Joe Rogan podcast, it's kind of like, okay, that's it. You're keeping up with the Joneses now.
Yeah.
And then it's like, for what?
Yeah.
For what? Who do you have to prove? Even GSP said it. I like what he said about saying, look, no one gives a fuck about me with all these accolades and all that. Like, really, you got fans cheering, but they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah,
it's like,
really.
they don't know you, dude.
Yeah. It's all, no matter how big it gets, it's all temporary. It's going to go away. It's not as important as you're making it out to be and as people make it out to be. If you're not also building up what is important, what's behind all of that.
Yeah.
Like this is extra. This is all these things are just extra pieces for others to look at. If it's not developing you internally as a person, with yourself, when you're alone, like that's who you better be taking care of and building and becoming stronger and better and not only doing it for what it looks like to others.
Right. Yeah. I love what you're saying about, the thing is that when people hear this, like it may come off like as cynical and morbid about, I shouldn't be alive. But the thing is that it gives you a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
That life's not forever. It's kind of like, I like it because I interpreted it as we're kind of living on borrowed time.
Yeah.
Unless you go through like an existential crisis, like you did, almost getting hit by a semi truck or just killing ourselves with alcohol.
Yeah.
Then how can you really feel it? Someone can say, yeah, life is short and stuff like that. It's like, do you really, man? If you have like an 18-year-old kind of kid, and don't get me wrong, some of them have fucked up experiences. Yeah. But then it's kind of like, well, do you really? Unless you've gone through like the hardships. So that's what I mean by like character building. It's what makes you who you are, having to go through all those, hardships and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, at times I think it can come across as very cynical and almost as if you just don't care. But for me, it's just accepting things the way that they are, not stressing or worrying or trying to control things that I don't have any control over. And I think so many of us do that day in and day out. We're just constantly flooding our minds with these things that we can't do anything about.
Yeah.
And people almost feel like they need to, as if that is contributing to it somehow. Like, oh, if we talk about these issues, what is that doing? Is making you feel better because you're informed about the awful things in the world, like good, but are you actually doing anything?
Right.
And more, I'm not talking about like, yeah, it can be great to be informed, but more often than not, it's destroying people. You know, it's making them very angry and making them very looking at other people as one way or another, not positively. It's not doing anything positive.
Right.
Right. And it's not to say like everything you need to do needs to be positive, but how many of these things are we doing that we relinquish our control on so much and we don't take control of the things we do have control over?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think a lot of people lose the plot, because they're trying all these external things that they can't do anything about. But you're not even taking care of yourself.
Right.
Like you're not even doing what you can do for yourself.
Even the basics.
The basics.
Yeah.
Like simplest things you're not doing. You're just telling everybody else what they should be doing, who's wrong, who's right, where I stand on these issues. Right. Are you taking care of yourself? How's your relationship doing?
Right.
How are you being as a parent or a husband, a wife? Probably not great.
Yeah.
And a lot of that probably has to do with because you're so fixated on these things that you have absolutely no influence, control, or effect on. Right.
Yeah. Usually, that's one of my key things, like when it comes to business, is that I know some people say it's kind of like, okay, business is separate from your personal, personal life. But then it has a lot to do with it, man. That's going to seep through.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
if you're beating your wife or something, or if you're just that kind of person, that's going to seep through business. You're just not a man of like integrity or character.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of the things that I look for.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to it and just ask you, so with that long career, man, like that long of a Kobe Bryant kind of resume, you don't put any stock, like identity into it anymore. You don't look back and you're like, man, I miss like the glory days.
No.
And can you, like, I know you got into it a little bit, but can you tell people how they could manage that? Because it might be difficult, man. Like, if that's your life, bro, like you do it day in, day out. Think about it. You're training 2 days, right? Like you're fighting. You have this upcoming fight. That's all you're thinking about. You're possessed. Like you're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you keep, how do you separate the two after you retired?
Yeah. Shit. I don't know how you do it. I think part of it is understanding that this is an external thing that I do. And it of course it is part of me and part of who I am, but it doesn't define who I am. Who I am is expressed through this thing. It's an expression of my art, of myself. Fighting is that, or whatever it is, your business, your job, your relationship. All these things are expressions of who you actually are as a person. It's just something you do with it. So I think I just maybe because I never felt like a fighter, I just I was like, this is what I do, and I love to do it. And obviously I am a fighter. Yeah. But I never felt defined by that.
Did you feel a little bit of like I mean, I guess most people go through it, but like an imposter syndrome. Like you knew you fought, but then it's like it still doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of reasons. One, I never lost that beginner's mentality. So I never viewed myself as this person who was above anybody else. When I was in the gym, somebody that was just starting, I felt the same, because essentially we're both just trying to be better.
Yep.
I've done more than you, but when you view the infinite of perfection, which is impossible, we're both just as far away from that as each other, right? We're the same distance away from perfection, because that's a place you can't get to.
Right. So
that was always my perspective. I never felt above anyone else or felt like I'd done some things, but I didn't view it as how I think other people would view it. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Just because of the way I came up, maybe part of my personality coming into it. I just never I never had an ego about it. And I think there's good and bad to that. I mean, I think you need to have a little bit of an ego can help.
I mean,
But so I think sometimes that did hinder me in a few areas because I didn't have an ego about it and I didn't view myself as this person. So sometimes I almost dropped down to the level of who was in front of me. So fortunately for me coming up, everyone that I was fighting was above me. Everybody that I was training with was above me. So it was very easy for me to elevate myself to that level.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna die if I don't raise my bar as high as I possibly can. But then towards the end of my career, when I'm fighting people who are kind of below my level, it's hard for me to maintain that where I was because I don't have to. It's not life and death situation now. It just became almost like sparring to me.
Right.
And I don't really want to hurt someone that's not hurting me. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're trying to kill me, we're gonna go. But if you can't hurt me and we're just playing around, I'm not just gonna thump on you, right? And so unfortunately, I couldn't turn that on when I wasn't fighting somebody above my level, and unfortunately, that very rarely. There was only a few fights towards the end of my career because most of my career was always making giant steps.
Oh
up.
yeah.
That helped.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
That made a big difference for me. So I never had to develop that part of my game where it was being able to maintain that even if who's in front of you isn't at that level.
Right.
And what I realized towards the end there was I was like, this is just a different phase of your journey, and that's a piece that everyone needs to develop. So I looked at it as a piece I needed to develop in myself. It was just really hard to do.
That's interesting.
It was really hard to do.
Yeah,
I hated it. I was like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I never did figure it out.
Exactly. So when you fought the likes of Sanchai, were you like fully aware that you were fighting this
Yeah. Oh yeah.
just legend, you know?
Yeah.
Were you like, okay, this is like surreal, or were you like, I'm gonna kill this guy, like with the mentality of like, I'm gonna kill this guy?
I'm gonna kill this guy. Was never a thought in my mind. For me, it was always there's nothing you can do to break me. Like you can't make me stop. Not I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna crush you. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm never gonna stop coming at you.
Yeah.
So that was the mentality that I always had. And it didn't matter who it was. I was like, I don't care if it's Sanchai. And what I realized watching and studying his fights was, especially against foreigners, was how many of them got stuck almost watching the Sanchai show. Like they couldn't do anything. For a lot of reasons, but at the same, they get starstruck.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I see most of the time. It's almost like, yes, it's a respect kind of thing, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, you want to figure you'd give it your all, not to say that they didn't, but you could almost kind of feel it.
Yeah, definitely. And I saw that, I witnessed that.
Yeah.
And I vowed to not be that. I was like, no matter what, I refuse to just stand in front of him and just be in awe of this person or treat him as if he's this god that can't be touched. And actually, about a month or two before we fought, I was out in Thailand and I saw him and Sakadao, who I fought after him, actually fight each other. And I got to be up relatively close to the ring, and what I saw the humanity there. I saw these are just human beings. They're not some extra robotic monsters that are just destroyers. Like, yeah, they got the skill, they got this experience, but they get hurt, they get tired, they get frustrated. And I could see it up close and I could feel it. And that made a big impact on me. And again, I just vowed I refuse to let myself, to not give it everything that I have and to hold back and to put him up on this pedestal. Like I don't deserve to be in here with him. Right. And I thought, no matter what he's done, no matter how many fights he's had, no matter how many people he's destroyed, he's never fought me before. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. these highlight videos and these things that I'm watching, how great he looks. That didn't mean anything to me. I didn't put that in my mind. I know what you're capable of, and I know if I don't go at you head on, I have zero chance. You're just gonna have a field day with me.
Obviously, technique and how you fight matters. How much of it? Because what I just understood there was like that's pure mentality right there.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna break me,
Yeah,
right? I mean, it could probably also work because you've talked about it before too. It's kind of like, man, if you're just going hard, like it's
Yeah.
it's a cause for long term brain damage and all that. But how much do you think of fighting is mental, and how much do you think of it as technique, realistically? Because you'll hear like, yeah, it's all mentality and confidence and all that. It's like, well, if you can't fight worth shit, then
yeah. Your confidence doesn't mean it. It'll get you a long way though. And I've seen a lot of people go really way farther than they ever should have just because they had a mentality for it. But that is only going to get you so far. And it can only do so much.
Right.
Especially at the higher levels where people understand how to deal with certain pressures and power or speed. It's kind of like in the beginning of when people are starting out fighting. Of course, the stronger people, the more athletic people, the naturally gifted people are going to be the ones who are going to win a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not also developing their skills, the people without those natural abilities are going to overcome them in the long run. And that's what I did because I was always focused on developing my fundamentals and my foundation, my defense. I didn't care about all that extra fancy shit to me. And it was the way it came up under ties and stuff. They just over and over do the same thing over and over. Kick, 1, 2, 1, 2, elbow.
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that because now, since there's so many, especially in Thailand, the styles look similar. Like, I'm sure there's like a certain way to do things. Check, kick, how they score things.
Yeah.
Then what separates, like, as far as skill level, what separates a good fighter from, like, an average one, I guess you could say, or what brings the fighter up here compared to someone over there? If it's just check, kick, you know what I mean? Like, I guess that's where mentality comes in. But what skills in particular, like, really narrow it down?
Yeah. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and all of us have different skill sets and abilities and natural and developed, right? So there you have all these pieces that are moving together. And where you're lacking in one area, you can make up for in another area and even out the playing field a bit. Mm-hmm. Like if you don't have speed, you can have timing. If you don't have power, you can have consistency and cardio and all of that. So it can be very complex, yet it's relatively simple. It's really about just being consistent, showing up every day. Competing as much as possible, because without that competition, you're not understanding what you're really developing. Like you can only develop so much in the gym.
Can you go through that? You mean like how hard you get hit in the face, the intensity of the match? Is it, like what's the difference? I mean, this might seem like a very general question, but then I know the intensity's up there. You got the spotlight on you, people watching you. But what's the biggest draw in competition that you see compared to just training in the gym? Because you're going to do the majority of your training in the gym, right? Where you got 5 rounds, you know, in the ring, and that's it. And then you don't get another fight till whatever,
Well, that's one reason I tell everyone that they should just have one fight at least, so you know what you're actually doing in here. What works, what doesn't. Because a lot of what people do in the gym is just a waste of time when it comes to actual fighting. And that's fine. And
like what? Before we move
just
on.
Just a lot of
Could you give me an example? Like
techniques and combinations that you could never pull off.
I see.
Against somebody that doesn't want you to do it and that is trying to kill you. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like why are you even practicing doing that over and over and over and over again? You can't do that if you're not also developing the things that will allow you to do that, which is your fundamentals and your foundation.
Sure.
Like you need to be able to throw a basic jab, a 1-2 and a kick on somebody that doesn't want you to do it. Then you can add in these extra things. But people are so fixated often on the things that look good. Again, it comes down to just like we were talking about with social media and everything, what it looks like, not what it is.
Right.
What's realistic. And again, that's fine if that's what you're actually doing. But if you want to develop and be a better fighter, even if you don't ever get in the ring, then you need to understand what's a waste and what's not. What's just for movement and for fun and to look good. What is actually going to help you in a violent situation when somebody isn't going to react the way you think they're going to when you start moving around and throwing all these things at them. Like you can hit a bag, but a person's very different than a bag.
Bag don't hit back.
Bag don't hit back. Bag moves.
Shied out.
So things along those lines, I think it becomes the biggest difference. And that's why, the ties and are just the best because one, they start fighting when they're little babies.
Yeah. I mean,
so to be able to fight, go back to the gym, develop, fight, go back to the gym, develop, fight, go back to the gym, develop over and over and over and over and over again. Like you can't, how do you compete with that? It's very difficult.
It's also a brutal life. I've seen some of those kids fight and then, some of them get knocked out. I'm like, I don't even know if this is like, it's hard. Obviously it'd be looked down upon on the States. I know that's their culture and all that.
Yeah. Well, not only is it their culture, but what you're talking about when it comes to the ties is this is one of their only escapes from poverty.
Yes.
So to say, kids shouldn't be fighting. Like, what do you want them to do? Be beggars on the street?
Exactly.
They're not growing up here where they can go to school and get an education and have this family environment. People send their kids to these camps because that is what's going to allow them to make money and to support their families. Yeah. They're not doing this as a hobby. They're not just getting beat up for nothing. And sure, you can of course point to all the things that are terrible about that, but you got to understand the whole picture there, right? There's a ability for them to escape the life that they have, and that's one of the only things that is an opportunity for so many kids.
I think it's just in the U.S. when we're so, I part of it is like the sanctions and all that. They tend to keep them safe, but you're definitely right. Like looking at it as a bigger picture, if that's one of the only ways that you're able to survive and provide for like your mother, it's like shit. What other options do you have? Like, I'm just simply saying that it's kind of being in like the States and having not fought in Thailand, and not seeing the culture. I sometimes I watch these kids and it's very respectable. A lot of people are doing MMA at like 4 or getting into jiu-jitsu at 4, and fighting at an early age, and their development is, you almost have to do it to be great with the evolution. But then when I'm watching that, I'm like, damn, like that's it's like especially when someone gets knocked out that young. I'm like, again, going back to the brain development thing, I'm like, that can't be good.
It is a tough thing, but we don't realize how hypocritical we are because we'll feed kids poison every day.
That's
not
true
think
too.
Anything about it, and they'll sit on the couch all day just getting fat and brain dead. And that's perfectly acceptable and almost encouraged. So to hold ourselves in this light as if they're doing something wrong and not even understanding what it's like to be born there, to grow up there, to not have the opportunities that we have over here. So there's a give and a take to everything, but you could do the same thing looking at are you looking at your own life that way? Like you should do that anytime I'm getting close to maybe judging somebody else. I always try to always use this practice as, what am I doing in my life that is close to that? And am I helping myself not be that way before I look at you as like, you're this piece of shit.
Right.
Right.
Mm.
Like, well, I'm a piece of shit too. If I'm not completely void of those things, right?
Mm.
I'm probably doing them on some level,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to judge you, then I'm a hypocrite. Just to say, just because you're doing it more
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make it mine free of judgment.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's a lot of pathways of looking at it. Like you said, I mean, that might be even worse of just kids sitting down playing video games, eating potato chips the whole day. I mean, you're killing yourself
Yeah, you're
by
killing
doing
yourself.
that. It's if I were to look at that on like an Instagram reel and then I just watch that like I was to like watch a match or something,
Yeah.
I'd be like, damn. I was like that, like
Yeah.
I feel sorry for those, kids
Yeah.
eating the bag of chips and being overweight.
Yeah,
and-
yeah,
yeah.
it's horrible that we don't realize that hypocritical way of judgment and views
Yeah.
of things in the world, and that goes across the board for so much stuff that it's so easy to look at somebody else and say, "This is wrong. You shouldn't do this,"
Sure.
but you know nothing. You don't know anything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me too, where I was listening to this guy, Brian Tracy. He's been all over the world. He's like some businessman. And the thing is that just reminded me that when he went to Ghana, right? They have a corrupt government.
Uh-huh.
So when they when they see videos in the States, man, they're just kind of like, I mean, it was kind of a joke, but then they really said it. One of the kids were like, man, I want to go to the States. He was like, why? Because I want to be fat like those kids. Because they don't have anything to eat, right? Like they're struggling to eat.
Yeah.
And they gotta like literally maybe fight for their food, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Yeah,
Like 2 bags of rice will do you a long way.
for sure.
So I think that's kind of like what we reminded me of. And sometimes like, yeah, just a reminder that really checks you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, yeah, it's just don't take life for granted, I guess. So with your career, man, what sticks out to you the most? Like with your illustrious resume, is there one particular fight where you were like, dude, what's the best fight you've ever had, man?
That's such a hard question.
I know.
And everybody
know.
asks me that. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you even? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Best.
Or the word that you like so much, kickboxing. And not Muay Thai.
Oh, I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
It's also like asking who's the most difficult person you fought.
Mhm.
Well, in what way? Difficult in the fight itself, difficult training for, difficult skill wise, difficult.
I guess, you know what? I guess the matchup.
Yeah.
I'd be more interested in, like, personally for me.
Yeah.
Before you got into that fight, maybe you had a little bit of like, oh crap, this one is really, he like matches or styles make fights, right?
Yeah.
Almost. And it's just, oh, that guy is like no joke
Yeah.
compared to my style. And,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have a really hard time with them. Is there someone that sticks out to you? Like, it doesn't have to be like a big name Sanchai or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just someone that's like, oh shit.
There wasn't really anybody I looked at and was like, I mean, you always have your doubts about fights and how you're going to do against certain people, especially people with that kind of experience and resume like Sanchai and Malapet and Sakadao. But it was always, I just kind of accepted that this is just a person and I'm going to do everything I can to go in there. Sanchai certainly, but I think it was at such a high level that I didn't even waste my time stressing about like, oh my gosh, this is like, I was like, I knew that, I accepted it, and like, what can we do? I'm going to dedicate every second of my life to this, and I refuse to let anything steer me in the other direction. So I know I have to do that to even be able to survive the first round. I have to be 100%, beyond 100% in every aspect of my training, every aspect of my life, inside and outside of the gym. But I was already doing that with everybody else as well. It was just at a higher level. So he actually, like, Malapet was one of the guys who I had some fear of because I watched him coming up just beating the brakes off all these Americans and foreigners. And we weren't even in the same weight class. So I didn't think we'd ever even fight.
Yeah.
You know, he was 2 weight classes above me. And when I started, he was who he was already.
Right.
You know, we used to go and watch him in LA just murdering people all the time and laughing and just like, this is a joke. And then when they offered me the fight, I was like, yeah, I'll fight him. I didn't even hesitate. But when they brought us together in the center of the ring, I like looked down at his legs. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna hurt.
Oh gosh.
I'm like, they're so big, dude.
Was it like his thighs?
Dude, his calves were like, his calves are as big as my thighs. And all he does is kick people, just blasts them away. And like, I just saw murder so many people with kicks. So, but that was one of the biggest things that I developed while I was training was my kick defense. Just constant being able to deal with every single kick, checking it, catching it, firing back, not letting him just rail off these kicks like he's doing pad work and answering and giving him, putting stuff in his face. And so, but still when you're in there and he's hitting you with that shit, even in the round 5 when he's gassed out, it was, nobody's ever kicked me that hard. Not even close.
Dang,
nobody in my entire career. It was him. So he was the one that I did have like a few.
That was like
moments.
a memorable one right there.
Yeah, this is gonna suck.
Yeah. I wanted to circle back a little bit. How much do you think of your addictive personality helped you out in fighting? You know, it's kind of like it could work out for you because a lot of people, when they hear addictive, it's usually on the negative. When they hear that word. But then if you interpret it different, it's kind of like, well, you know, you're addicted to go to the gym, right? Lift weights and stuff like that. It's like, you know, I think personally for me, looking from outside in, you know, part of that is what led somewhat to your success. For sure. Of just go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I always say it's not a matter of what this thing is. It's a matter of what you do with this thing. So this addictive like personality, that was something that really changed my life was that perspective of, you have a choice on what you're going to do with this energy, whatever this energy is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's energy. These things that have happened, they give you energy. You can use it to destroy yourself, or you can use it as fuel to be better. The wins and the losses, it's just a thing. But it's your responsibility to steer that in one direction or the other. You can't blame the thing that happened. And that's what I did most of my life, all of my life, leading up to when I finally turned it around, was I became a victim of anything that happened. This bad thing happened to me, therefore it's bad. I can be bad. I can do bad.
Right. There's a snowball effect a little bit.
And the biggest change one of the biggest changes in my entire life was realizing like I still have a choice what to do with that. And we all do. And that's a hard thing to understand and to accept, that no matter what happens to you, you have a choice on what you do with it. So you can't blame anybody. You can say, yeah, it's your fault this happened to me, but it's not their fault what you did with it.
Yeah.
And that's really hard, difficult to do and to accept. But when you understand that, you can take everything, the good and the bad, and use it to drive yourself to a better direction. And that's what I realized and what I was able to do.
Did you do any kind of therapy?
No.
You just had a realization of what life was like. And how did you do that? I mean, I'm sure you had some friends, I'm sure your wife, you know, kind of guide you in the right direction. How did you come to process these things without any, I guess, quote unquote, professional help? You know, and also I want to add on, I heard this thing that going the other way, it's kind of like just because you go through therapy right? And then you peel back the layers of the onion and understand what happened to you.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not going to do anything about it, then what's the use of, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're just going to sit back on the couch eating potato chips and
Yeah.
dwelling over it, what's the
sure.
use in going to therapy?
Yeah. Sometimes it can make it worse.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to do the work.
Right.
You have to do the work. So fighting and turning my life around for that is what helped me understand so many of these things in life. Was I have a choice to make what I'm going to do. I was killing myself every day because I felt like I could, because I deserve to, because my life's like all these bad things have happened, and therefore it's okay for me to drink every day and piss my life away and accept the fact that I'm not going to amount to anything. But what I did realize was you have a choice. You have a choice to make. What are you going to do with this thing that have happened to you, these events that have happened to you? Because what you're doing right now is you're making a choice to drink every day.
Mm-hmm.
You're making that choice. Nobody else is doing that. You're doing that. So I made a choice to go the other direction. And I made a choice to make that decision to go in that direction no matter what happened from there on out. And that was a huge realization. And then my very first fight, I got the shit kicked out of me. I got destroyed. I didn't even make it to the end of the fight.
Was that the one where he was like a few weight big because you didn't get that fight?
He was like 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah,
than me, and
that's
he had
crazy.
like 20 fights already. But after that fight, we're driving back. This was in Salt Lake, and we're driving back to Vegas. And the day after the fight, I was destroyed, and I thought I was wrong about this. I can't make it. I'm all those doubts I had prior came just crashing back in on me. I'm like, you're not good enough to do this. You're too old. You're too skinny. You can't fight. You're not a fighter. You can't do this. But I was fortunate to realize I still have a choice. Am I only going to do this if I can only win? Am I only going to do this if I look good doing it?
That's true.
And I'm this great fighter and everybody is applauding me and wanting my autograph. Like, no, I love to do this. And I don't know how good I can be if I quit. I don't know where I can get to. I don't know if I can be great. I don't know if I can even be good. But I know I'm not going to know if I give up. So I'm going to keep going forward, and I'm going to use this loss as a reason to never let that happen to me ever again.
And you had that reflection after your first fight?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on the way to Utah? Or did you have to like kind of sit back for a while?
No, it was like a day.
It was that day? Yeah.
Well, the day after. So we were driving back the day after. And the moment after the fight to that moment of that was just awful. And just, I was lying to myself. Because when I started, up until that very first fight, I was just like skyrocketing. My abilities, everything was just every day.
Yes.
Better.
It was compounding.
Yeah,
it was compounding.
Exponential growth.
Yeah.
Everyone that came in the gym was like, dude, how long you been training? It was just constant. Everyone was telling me like how good I was. And I was just having these reminders of like, this is the right path that I'm on. And when I started, I wrongly assumed that the right path means everything goes the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, cool.
Reality check.
I said, all right, I turned my life around. Everything's just going to open up now. We're just going to.
Yeah.
And like I went into that fight. I was like, I don't give a fuck if he's 20 pounds heavier than me and he's had all these fights. I'm going to crush him. I'm going to crush this dude because I'm going that direction. And this is the way. Nobody's going to stop me. I'm going to keep going there. And he did badly. It was embarrassing, and none of those things mattered. That he had experience and weighed on me. That didn't matter. Like none of that matters. I can't use that as a reason. It was, what are you going to do about it? And what are you going to do with it?
Yes.
And those were the two biggest questions in my mind. Anytime anything would happen, good and bad, was what are you going to do about it? And what are you going to do with it? Because you can do something with it. Are you going to use it to get better, or are you going to let it destroy you? And I put things in that binary context in my life, in the things I would do, the things I would watch, the things I would eat. Is this helping you get better, or is this making you get worse? And I took out the debate over everything.
Right. So every choice you make had
Yeah.
something to do with the goal that you were trying to reach
Yes.
for.
Is this
Whatever you
helping?
ate, is this benefiting me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it intentionally moving the needle towards my favor?
Yeah, because it's only doing one or the other. And obviously there's a balance there, but
Yeah. Yeah.
if you simplify it, it makes choices a lot easier. Is this
Yeah.
going to help you? Yes or no? It's not,
Exactly.
oh, kind of, it's not that bad. And I saw so many people having that it's not that bad mentality when it came to training, when it came to their diets, when it came to drinking,
Mhm.
partying, and just hanging out. And like, yeah, it's not that bad, but is it helping you? No, it's not.
Yeah. It's almost like a halfway in, halfway out mentality.
Yeah.
You know, you're half-assing whatever you're doing, and then for you, you decided what it seemed like when you were a kid, you decided to go all the way with it. When your dad, had you throw away that 40, right?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? When I heard that, I would have said the same thing.
Dude, I was like, I don't want to waste this.
Yeah, I know. I was reading this book, like how to stop being an alcohol, and then what the book was saying was like, okay, you can have your drink, but you stop it completely. That's what I was thinking of when I was. If my dad would have said that, I'd be like, I would have probably tried to do whatever I can to try to keep that drink first, and then say I'll stop tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really wanted to do it at that point when a 40 is like sitting in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's so funny too, because that went like subconsciously. I was like, well, it's like Friday right now. I'm going to start Monday. Like, do we need to actually stop right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. So I guess just for myself, man, what are some of your go-tos? Like when you fight, we talk about the basics. What is it? Just like a jab, hook, low kick? Did you have like a go-to kind of thing? Were you like, all right? And because I know that you said that you were like athletic, right?
Yeah.
When you were a kid, and there's a lot of crossover in that.
Yeah.
People that grow up athletic, I mean, they're more coordinated.
Yeah.
And they're just a lot better at physical sports. So what was your like trump card? Do you think, would you say, like in fighting? What unfair advantage did you have compared to everyone else?
One was my cardio.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's a big one because,
For sure.
dude, I thought, when I started doing martial arts, I thought it was just about technique. But then I heard this quote, and obviously you start to see it with Marab and, all those badasses that exhaustion makes a coward out of all of us.
Yeah.
And damn, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, going back to my first fight, I lost because I gassed out. Now I gassed out because it was my first fight, and it's not that I wasn't in shape or anything, but having that feeling of being gassed out, I said, I will never feel this ever again. I refuse to ever feel this. And what's the one thing that I always have control over? How hard I train, how consistently I train, not who I'm fighting, how good they are. If they catch me with something, I can push myself to the limit every single day. I can stay consistent every single day, even if I'm injured, even if I'm sick, even if I'm tired. There's always something that I can do. Even if I'm laying in a full body cast in the hospital, I can work on my mind.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah,
and that is where I saw a lot more development than most, because I realized every opportunity is an opportunity to grow, not just when you're in the gym. What are you doing outside the gym? We have these constant battles, little battles all the time, sleeping in a little too long, having a little more food than you should, having that extra drink. All these are battles. And the more I could strengthen myself and win all of these battles, the stronger I'm going to be when somebody's trying to fucking kill me, right? That I need to be the strongest I can be, not just physically, mentally, more than anything.
Yes.
I need to be unbreakable. Like, you cannot break me. And the only way I can do that is if I'm unbreakable in the gym as well. Because in the gym, everything's kind of relaxed and we don't have to push it that hard. And, people kind of train and they're like, I'm here every day. I'm pushing. I'm like, are you pushing it as you would if someone was standing next to you trying to kill you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I had in my head every time that I trained. Like, someone is trying to kill you right now. Really what I had in my head was, you wasted this much of your life. You can't ever get to this point
and you
of
use
catching
that as
up.
fuel.
That was the fuel.
That was the fuel. Yeah.
Right. For me, that's what it was. It was the consistency. It was the cardio. It was the making my fundamentals my strength. All these kind of fancy things and combos and things, I never actually trained them I never really practiced a lot of the things that I would do in the fight.
Sure.
Which is ironic. You think you would, but if you're developing the pieces of that puzzle, you're going to apply them the way they need to be applied in that certain situation. And we often falsely think we can replicate this thing on the outside that's going to be on the inside. We're trying to put this whole thing together when it's really all these separate pieces that need to be perfection.
Right.
If all of these are done perfectly individually, you can put them together over here. But you're trying to put this huge puzzle together perfectly that you can't, and you can't replicate that in here. And that's what I mean about a lot of people are focused on the wrong things.
Yeah, it's a lack of focus, what I was going to say. Just hone in on this particular piece, and then this piece, and then this piece.
Right.
It's kind of like a framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would do a lot of things like isolation sparring where I'd say, okay, I can only use this and this. And not only can I only use this and this, I'm going to tell you this is all I have.
Right.
So I only have a jab and I only have a kick. Now that's going to make it that much more difficult for me to use against you because you don't have to worry about anything else. And that's how you develop those things to perfection.
That's interesting because I was talking to Chris Brennan, and then it's like he says he goes on one side in jiu-jitsu, right? He has like an unorthodox way of doing things where jiu-jitsu coaches would tell you to do both sides. The point is that, it's like like you said, if I do like a jab and a low kick, okay, that's fine. You could know. But if you can't defend that, it's kind of like, well, what are you going to do, man? You could know what I'm doing, but if I perfected it or, close to being, if I have it down, then, well, what the hell are you going to do, man?
Yeah. So my cardio and my defense is what my two biggest things were. And my defense developed through every single person that I came up with was bigger than me, stronger than me, more experienced than me. And I had to deal with these people every single day. And what helped me was if these people can't push me back and intimidate me, somebody my weight and my experience level is nothing to me.
Yeah, true.
It's nothing to now. It sucked getting the shit kicked out of me every day, and it was added a lot of pain in my life and trauma. But that's what got me to where I got to.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
If I didn't have those people pushing me like that and just beating the hell out of me like that, I never would have got to where I got to.
Right, exactly. Dude, I think, man, I appreciate you, Kevin, man. Thank you for coming on.
It's
and
my pleasure.
Yeah, like I said, like I mentioned to you before, that Joe Rogan one, that interview, that really hit me because I was going through it too at that time. And I'm so glad that you did that, your intuition kind of pushed you to saying that, even with the hesitation, because I'm sure obviously not, you got all those messages, but it definitely helped me. So when I saw you at the gym, I was like, oh, I got to talk to you. I had to talk to you. And it wasn't really about just, your Muay Thai in your career, even though obviously, that's what it is. But man, yeah, thank you for coming on. And I just had a masterclass of not only just Muay Thai, but on how to live life, to be honest. I'm still learning myself, and we're forever learning.
Me too.
Awesome.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you.